Welcome to the Toffee TV podcast with me, Baz, Pedro, and Andy as well. Episode 11, I think it is.
I don't know, you're on the big chair.
I'm in the big chair, apparently, just because I
Kevin's 11.
arranged the desk.
It's the chair that goes highest.
Apparently, it's the chair, so there you go. That's the one. It actually doesn't on the screen. I'm still small.
I don't think you've got the facilities for big men.
It's facilities. It's not civility.
It's the way he says it.
I don't think
civility.
you've got the facilities for that big man.
Don't think you've got the civility for that big man.
Full on Seb Hallaty, Yerry Mina. Part 1, let's discuss Everton victory at last.
We have to.
Yeah,
we do.
We do, because we've won. On a Saturday. We've won. Second time we've won on a Saturday since March.
Against West Ham.
Against West Ham. 2 of those. We've only won 3 times.
If only we could play West Ham every week.
Or a team beginning with W.
That's it, we've only
Wolves.
beaten a team.
Yeah, Moffat, which was the worst game of all time.
There you go. Whoa.
It was bad.
It
It
Was he
wasn't.
sure Sheffield United was worse?
Sheffield United.
No, we got beaten that game, but I mean, as a win, it was really, really bad.
Yeah, but it wasn't as bad as the games we discussed.
45% possession against
To
Watford
be
at
fair,
home.
though, to be fair.
But better with less
To be fair,
possession.
sitting next to someone who watched it in Epcot.
That's true.
So,
And what? Is there a better place to watch it?
I mean,
If you
Throwing
can't be...
his lightsaber around.
If you can't be it... Right. That's what she said.
Mary Poppins over his shoulder again. What score is it, love? Dick Van Dyke giving it the full. How are West Ham getting on?
It's Alice in Wonderland, it's not Mary Poppins.
Favourite blowing bubbles.
It's a pity though, could have been good. Here we go. So, Ped, nice win, a clean sheet.
First
for the
one you've
Blues.
seen all season, isn't it?
It is.
Person.
First win, back a good
Nice,
yeah.
it was nice.
It's good.
Nice.
It was an exciting game, like, for a fan, as a fan.
Thanks for stealing my.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, I just want to jump in, sorry.
Well, you know, once again,
yeah,
you've thrown yourself in.
It's April Fool's Day.
Like something like Mark Noble or Jack Wilshere would do.
Well, Jack
Ped,
Wilshere's
as he
still-
asked you, unplug his mic, please, Bill.
It was. Don't he might.
Oh, yeah. He's not joking.
You told me. No, it was nice. It was a nice win. It was a nice atmosphere. It was a nice game.
Nice day.
Manager seemed quite relaxed about it before the game started. He put out a team that most people were happy with, even though some people still found fault in it because Theo Walcott was playing, which is again something of a mad Everton trait, is that people can't be happy if 10 of the players are playing that they want to play, and it's just that one player they start to find fault.
I do think that it's because it was a bit left. I suppose it wasn't, because he was going to start in the City game, wasn't he? But I think that was probably
no, but
all
I think
it was.
just finding fault with one position when the rest of the team is pretty much as you want it, you can excuse the manager for that.
It's the same with performances. Like, people go, it was good performance by Obi, but it was good performance by Tom. But it's always a but. It's never, it was good performance, that. It never is, except Danny Gomez, because, you know.
Yeah, I just thought it was an all-round good performance. We started first couple of minutes. We were a little bit. West Ham sort of started on the front foot. They got that free kick, but then we just took over the game. And really, if there is anything I can criticise for, is it should have been 4 or 5 after about 70 minutes. And that's one thing going forward that we need to obviously address. But if you're making that many chances in games, I think players will become a lot more relaxed and won't snatch your chances. And I suppose it reassured us that we're not a terrible team, that we have got good players, and if the manager puts them in the right positions and the players themselves go out with hunger and passion and want to win, then we will win more games. But that's been the most frustrating thing in the last few weeks, is that we've been getting beat by dross, and the team, we've been playing so slow. And when the manager has changed it, he hasn't really changed it. No. He might have swapped the positions, but he's left like Snardle on the pitch, or hasn't taken Sigurdsson off, and that's where I'm hoping now. That's not going to say it's a watershed moment, but I'm hoping that we draw a line under the start of the season, and go right. This is the second quarter now of the season. Things are going to have to change, and you've had your chance, all the old familiar players, and it's now up to the other players. Now the likes of Iwobi and the likes of Tom Davis and hopefully Moise Keane going forward as well. And it's up to them now to stamp their mark on the team. And as a fan, that's what I want to see.
Andy, do you think is football, because obviously there's ways to look at keeping the same team, and people will argue differently, but I think my personal belief is it's important for us to create a culture at Everton of wanting to play well, to keep your shirt, rather than mixing and matching for different teams. Tactically, you'd always have to be aware that your team might need tinkering slightly, but are we in a situation at the moment at Everton where we've just had a poor run with the same players. The managers mixed it up, like Ped just said at the weekend. We were full of energy, full of running. We were a lot more attractive to watch. Do you think it's a situation now that he needs to try to instill into each player? It's your share to lose.
Yeah, it does, and there's two parts to it in a sense. Is one, yeah, you've got to be tactically mindful, and you could say maybe against certain teams will need a bit more defensive presence in midfield. But then you look on the opposite. You read the article where they said they've had player meetings, they've discussed and other things. If Marco then goes back to something that the players don't feel works, is he going to lose the players in the sense that, and that's important, that culture thing. It's important to build a culture of, people set standards on the pitch, training pitch, people set standards on the on the pitch of a Saturday, and that you need to. Marco needs to make sure that he is fostering that, and by changing the team and going, well, actually, Gylfi came off the bench and scored a goal. That's him back in. That sends the wrong message, because the reason we were so good in that game is not just because of Iwobi. It's the combination of players together, the puzzle was fit for finally this season. And we've spoken about it a lot in the sense that Everton have got good players. It's just that they were in a team. They didn't fit the parts, didn't fit what we had, and you could go, this is. Also looking forward is when people say we should have signed experienced striking of Diego Costa or whatever, he's too slow to play up front for what Everton really want to do. That's why Richarlison, Moise Keane and maybe Dom, because he's still got a bit of movement, will work, because they do move. If we brought in someone who's slow, and if you bring Schneiderlin back in and maybe Sigurdsson, who a bit more slow, methodical, more players, then it's going to take away what works, I think.
I think a lot of it comes down to the blueprints as well. What's happened in previous weeks for me is players are those players, Schneiderlin, Sigurdsson, Coleman, whoever else, they're fitting into a blueprint that doesn't work. Now, there's no reason actually that Sigurdsson can't play. There's games that Schneiderlin could play. There's games that Coleman could play. But the difference, I think, going forward, and listen, it was just one game, they've got to fit into this new blueprint rather than players coming in and fitting into their blueprints, if that makes any sense. Where Iwobi will come in the side, but it's Sigurdsson's side. So why not flip it and go, well, Sigurdsson can come inside, but it's a Iwobi's side. So it's, if that makes sense, it's a fast 4-3-3 where, rather than having a static centre forward up front, we've got three players up front who can interchange, and do you know what I mean? It shouldn't be this slow build-up play where you're dependent on slow players. Those players have still got a role in the squad and in the team, but in a new fashion of playing, and I think that's the way we've got to look at it. That for me has been the problem. It's the blueprint rather than the players.
I think you're right, but and there is a place, of course, and Andy's just said the same thing. That those players, we don't need to throw them out with the baby out with the bathwater and go, that's it, they're done now. They've no path for Gylfi, no future for Sneijder, no future for Coleman. What I would say to that is, those three in the same team don't work.
No, of course
they don't work. But you're right. One game it might be Morgan Schneiderlin coming in. One game Gylfi Sigurdsson could come in and play a different role. He could play deeper with Iwobi ahead of him. Because at times, I don't think Iwobi was the 10. I was sitting right from a side position, and it was a lot of times Everton had a flat three in midfield, but they were working, and then Bernard and Iwobi switched, which dragged Declan Rice, and Mark Noble didn't have a clue which one to pick up. We got around. We looked a lot more assured in what we were doing.
Yeah.
The manager seemed clearer in what we were doing. Now, we had this terrible spell last season. We had a 17-day break, and we come back from that 17-day break with a fresh way of playing, and we'd obviously looked at everything. Just done the article Andy was talking about before, that's in The Athletic, where you can get 60% off if you sign through the form at the bottom. Now, the article in The Athletic, which is very good, by Paddy and Greg, saying that the managers used this 2 weeks again on the international break to literally strip everything back and go, what's working, what isn't working. So I'm hoping that you're right, this blueprint is the new way forward.
My worry though with that is why does it take monumental moments for him to change the way he wants it?
Some managers are like that.
But is this his system, or is he changing his system for a system that works? With someone now, he's going away from we're going away from zonal marking, we're going man to man, but he's always been a zonal marker. So and that's fine, because you can stand there and go, or you sit there and go, well, yeah, but that's right for this game, and I get that. But if a manager's got to be flexible, I appreciate that. But is 4-4-3 the way he wants to play? And if it is, well, why hasn't he always played that way? Well, why hasn't he played that way from the beginning of the season?
This is where we're going.
I was just going to say, sometimes it takes you back against the wall, or it takes you having a couple of injuries to stump. Listen, some managers stumble upon things that work, that they might, he's been reticent to play Tom Davis, but it just so happens Tom Davis went away and played 2 England under-21 games again in the space of 3 or 4 days, was excellent in both games, up to speed with the level of game, and then it presents itself the chance that 2 of our midfielders out and he has to play. Therefore, Tom sits into place with Gomez, and all of a sudden it looks like they've been playing together all season, the 3 of them. And I think when you get a midfield working, and I know it's one game, and this has to become the rule. I'm hoping this isn't the exception. Do you know what I mean? This has to be Everton's level. But just taking Saturday's game into isolation as a blueprint, as a way forward, that midfield complemented everybody. It complemented Bernard, it complemented Luca Dean, it complemented Sidibé, it complemented Walcott. Richarlison's movements up front was great. He wanted to push himself against Ogbonna and Diop, and neither of them really wanted to look after him because he's a handful. And everyone was up for it, everyone was together, and the crowd bought into that. And I think the managers, sometimes you do get backed into a corner. I always quote the Moyes with Cahill thing. When Cahill first came, Moyes had him on the right side of the midfield, he didn't do anything. He had him in the centre of the midfield in a 2, he didn't do anything. We went to Old Trafford and he played off the striker because he wanted to be more compact. Next minute, that's where he plays. Remember when he done it with Fellaini? When Cahill was coming to the end, Fellaini all of a sudden, go there for that game for me. Next minute, that's where he had to play.
Well, Fellaini was a classic case of a player that we'd spend so much money on that he had to play. He had to play, and he had to find a position. And it was like, well, what's he good at? Well, his major asset is he brings in the air, or he brings it down the chest. Like, we'll throw him up front there and see what happens. But he scored. Well, he did eventually. But he scored goals.
Goals, didn't he?
He scored goals that allowed him to play in the team and then grow into the team, and then gradually just moved a little bit further back and took his place. And he did kill Jelovic's his role, because Jelovic,
but it worked for the team, though.
But it worked for the team. But that's what happens, and
that brings you on to Gylfi Sigurdsson, because it's great. This is the 2 things I have with Marco, and this is the way we bought so far is to play this more fluid. Gbamin being injured obviously is unfortunate, because I think Marco may have had the player then in midfield to say he's got a base sit, and then you could have played these players. However, I think what he's done is bought into what Koeman unfortunately bought into, is this base team's good enough to get Everton 7th, because this is the problem. And then we also did that little Martinez thing where we're trying to control games and doing nothing, and they're the ills of the past, and we're still chasing them. This is not the manager's fault in the sense that we're still having to change the side away from that. But the players were there for him to play his system. That's why I question them, because I think it's took him far too long to change. Now, if he sticks with this, great. My worry is he's going to overthink himself and get safe again and go back to, if it doesn't work at Brighton, and go back. But actually, he should stick with it, because the recruitments that we've bought and spent money on this summer is to gear towards that. Gbamin can dribble, athletic, obviously not playing. Iwobi, athletic, can dribble. Who else was signed in the summer? Sidibé, another player who's athletic. We'll probably get onto him. But
Delph's got mobility, that's can switch the play.
That's what I mean. So we've added players who play one-on-one. Moise Keane. We've added these players, but then you put them into that rigid side that we're playing. It doesn't work. And I think Brand's probably said to Marco, we bought these players and we've got this plan. Why aren't we playing that way? Why are we playing this rigid style football? To get the best out of 2 or 3 players maybe who have been long-term servants of Everton, in Coleman's case, and 2 others who are probably need to be. I'm not saying get rid of them now, you're right about that. Transition them out though. Say in 18 months' time we want to be a completely different side with them players that moved on.
Both of those players are Koeman players.
Yeah,
as well,
exactly.
They've
both been just on that though.
Sorry, go on.
We've been caught out simply on losing Ghana though. We've been caught out not being able to transition from one way into another quick enough, and because Gbamin, because you seen that with him bringing him on first game of the season and then playing him against Watford, and well, whether he mightn't say it was rushing, he might say I was trying to bed him in. Like we've just been.
Ivorian.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
If I had a hat, I would not. To be fair. It is that, but we've just said it's like Fellaini. It's like saying this lad's going to be good, but he needs to play, so I need to put him in, and then getting the injury, and he's being like, what do we do now? We might have been a completely, not saying with Gbamin would be a completely different team, but if we still had Garnett, we wouldn't have had half the problems we've got so far this season. And it's that transition. He was prepared to transition with Gbamin, slow and steady. But he's had no Gbamin, and you turn around and go, oh, is that Snydon stand behind me? Oh God! and then with Sigurdsson ahead of him, who I still think can play in a 3. Like, I think that number 10 position has almost been forced on Sigurdsson. Like,
that's his position now. He's
but
scored
it's not,
most of his goals and assists in his career from that
But
position.
he could still play.
He could do, but the thing about Sigurdsson is in a certain fit system and a certain around him, yeah, he'd be great. But what you've seen on Saturday, because he can't transition quickly enough up the field. And maybe you could play him in the Gomez role, maybe, because he's got that technique and that ability. But the fact that he can't transition up the field...
No, but that's what I'm saying. Even if he was in Tom's role, right, on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm not saying every week, and I'm not saying that's
you.
perfect, but what I mean is, if you had Gomez and Sigurdsson as your 2, I know it's open, and you've got to accept that it's going to be open, right? But Sigurdsson works hard. He can't say he doesn't work hard, because he does. But if you had him and Gomez, and then you'd had Wobie, if they were the 3, it'd be a very attacking 3, granted, but so what? A lot of teams play attacking-minded players.
I know City's player now, obviously we're not as good as City, but what they do is they use Silva and De Bruyne as the 2 attacking midfielders, and they have a 6 behind, and now you can play Delph, you can play Gomez as a quarterback, especially against your Burnleys, because let's be honest, Burnley not going to be exactly, transition against you in transition. You're looking to win off set plays, and so it's breaking teams down, and he will be useful in them situations. However, I think if you're going to stick with the style on Saturday, it has to be a specific team.
But you're also right before, you can't say it's all on Sigurdsson when Snarden's in the team and when someone like Seamus Coleman's in the team. And I'm not having a go at Seamus Coleman, but they're players who naturally slow this team down. Coleman, every time he gets the ball, it's very rare now that he just bombs.
He's doing Cuca Martina, which is what Cuca does.
Yeah.
The confidence, stop on the halfway line, and your first pass is back.
Where Sidibé on Saturday just kept on running, and he always wanted to go, always.
It's not in the same direction, he doesn't run straight lines,
well, exactly.
He's moving. It's clever, it's smart.
But it's always saying to their fullback, I'm going to push you back, whereas every time Coleman gets the ball now, he just looks, and if he can't go there, he just turns around and passes backwards. And we've allowed the opposition to settle, where we didn't allow that on Saturday. I've had this about West Ham, people say, when if you look at it, they're actually really rubbish, and I just think, and I know we're going to talk more about this in part 2 about the standard of the Premier League, but I look at most teams in the Premier League apart from the top 2 and say,
they're all flawed.
We're all the same. We're all the same.
Yeah.
It's if you can get a system and everyone's beatable on the day.
But that's getting the best out of the team you've got, and that's the key with Everton.
With that, just quickly on that midfield at the weekend, the way that was the most excited I've felt watching Everton for a while in terms of the way we've played.
Since West Ham last year,
Certainly this season, by far the best performance of the season, by far. And it was the speed in which we broke and the amount of, me and you done the tactics show, Andy, with the stills, how many players Everton had in and around the box, breaking the springing the attack, and we were forward.
Chances we had,
and I feel as though that's what Everton really need to take forward now.
One
player can come into that team like Sigurdsson, or it could be Sneijder, or it could be Coleman at times. But the core of that team still has to play in exactly the same way.
Look at Andre Gomez's performance next to a young player with loads of energy. Don Hutchinson on Twitter going, "How does Tom Davies not play every week? His energy is infectious." Now, other people will criticise him and go, "Well, you don't watch him if you haven't seen the mistakes he's made." But he's looking from a complete outsider and saying, "Hang on, that lad is bringing the energy to allow Andre Gomez." Whereas when we look back to like the Villa game where the rot started, how slow midfield. Gomez wouldn't go anywhere because he knew he had Sneijder. He couldn't go.
Let's take the ball off him.
We're on Saturday. He's got Tom Davies and he's thinking, there's energy here. There's insurance. There's also players like Iwobi who are fast enough to get back.
He was excellent, Gomez. He was
amazing. But that's what I'm saying. When you put him next to someone who's got energy, Gomez performance goes up.
Well, that's why he looks so good at Garner. Because Garner had that energy. Let me come on to Moise Keane, because obviously he didn't start the game. He come on and he made a meaningful contribution. He was involved in the second goal twice in the build-up to it. With the way Everton played at the weekend, with that midfield and with Sidibé and fast-flowing attacking football, do you think that's the best way we'd get Moise Keane? Because at the moment he struggled, hasn't he?
That's the only way we're going to get him into the team, because him playing up front on his own is no. And do you know what? I feel exactly the same way about Dom as well. They're not clever enough to understand how to make runs. Richarlison was brilliant on Saturday.
You mean Moise Keane's not clever enough to make runs?
But he isn't on his own. I mean, you can listen. No, whoa. You can throw all the stats at you. The point being is, right, if he's up front on his own and there's nobody near him for 25 yards, he can make the greatest runs in the world all he wants. He ain't getting the ball.
No, so I think what you mean is, it's not. I don't think that's Keane.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
not
saying.
on Keane.
That's what I'm saying.
On the rest of
It's
the
the
team.
type of role he's
That's
playing.
what I'm saying.
That's what
I'm saying. If you, it doesn't matter who plays up front. The way we've been playing, especially away from home, the centre forward gets so isolated.
Like
it doesn't matter how. The only actually having an ass, having someone like a Giroud would work in that system because he wouldn't have to run.
Yeah, true.
Someone like Giroud would just stand up front, make sure he got in front of the defender, and he'd probably just win fouls all day long for us because they've got the experience. But those young players haven't got the experience to do that.
So they need this new system.
So they need this system, and I think what Richarlison showed on Saturday. Now, I don't know. Listen, if he'd been 25 yards away from the rest of the team, I don't think he would have made half the runs because they're pointless. They're pointless. They're isolated. That you'd be isolated all game. But in this system, I could see Moise Keane playing as the centre forward. I could see him playing out as the wide forward, not a right winger, wide forward, because that's what Theo was, and that's what Bernard was a lot of the time, especially in the second half. And I could see Keane, when Keane came on, straight away, he knew what his job was, and they'd obviously said to him, no, don't worry about going back. You've got someone who'll run up and down for you all game. You've got midfielders who'll come over for you. You just stay on the edge of that box where he looks like he can do damage. And I think this will help him loads, and this was what will bring him on. So far, we haven't seen anything from him because we haven't allowed him to do. And that's got to be another criticism of how the manager set it up.
If you give him the service that Richarlison got on Saturday to his feet all the time, you're giving him in around the box so he can turn and run, then he's going to cause teams problems. This is what when people go, you can't hold it up. He's not a target man. You can't play that system with him. It's great with Dom, who really probably doesn't want to do that either because he's another player who likes to run behind. But we need to play to suit the players, and again, this is the midfield behind them. Again, Sigurdsson, if you're going to get the best out of Sigurdsson, actually, obviously, I've discussed his lack of dynamism, but he wants runners in beyond so he can slip balls in.
It's got to be a
With
basketball
Dom going
game.
like this behind, when Dom's behind him, he's got no one to roll the ball in. So that's got to be a basketball game, you're right. There's space and space.
I mean, at the weekend, we had...
I don't know what you just said.
No,
pace and space.
At the weekend, we had, obviously, Richarlison through the middle, and I thought he was brilliant. I thought he led the line brilliantly. But we had a Wobie breaking further forward from the other two midfield players. Now, the pass combinations at the weekend was a Wobie to Richarlison, 6.
Yeah.
Sigurdsson, 1, 2. Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Moise Keane. But
that's because he plays in that right channel.
No, I know, but even so,
I agree.
Them balls, that's what we need from our midfield player breaking, whether it's Gylfi, whether it's a Wobie, whether it's Bernard, whether it's whoever. If you're the centre forward, the person you're looking to is the person who's closest to get it to you. I think Moise Keane and I think Walcott was much better as well because Sidibe was like a lunatic on that right hand side. He did want to fly up, he was making runs, and he wasn't. You know, we said it before. Seamus Coleman runs in straight lines or stops.
Doesn't underlap
at the
anymore.
Weekend, their left back, Schuacher or whatever his name is, him, and the kid,
he's not a lasagna dish.
No, and Fornals over that side didn't know who to trap.
No,
they didn't know whether to go with Walcott, or they didn't know whether to go with Sidibe because Sidibe was here. He was there, and because Theo played more centrally than he has done when he's played out wide.
The interchange.
We had the situation that at the bar in the second half because Walcott didn't have to run from the corner flag along the byline to try to get angled. That was all done close with a Wobie pass,
and he was in. Charles, not the season he played Walcott's role. Do you know that's where I think Moise Keane will come in. He'll go in as centre forward with Richarlison, who can do a similar type of role to Walcott, going back out to the right, but he's going to be tighter then. And I think you're going to see the best out of Richarlison then because he can cover Sidibe who's getting too far forward times because we've seen him do it this season.
I thought the perfect example was the second goal. You know, you can say how good it was. It was technically brilliant. Yeah. No, you're not going to get many players in the Premier League there who can just who know that the minute it leaves the foot, it's going the top in. Yeah. But look how hard Moise Keane and Richarlison worked to get that ball back. You know, Moise Keane wins it twice, I think. Then Richarlison actually gets taken out. Rides the tackle, then gives it to Sigurdsson, and once Sigurdsson's sent Wilshere the Winslow for a pint, he's puts it in and. But that's in the last minute of a game. You're still doing that.
But if you look at as well when the ball hits the net, but Richarlison's close to Sigurdsson and Moise Keane's close to Sigurdsson and Bernard. So all of a sudden there was 4 men in and around the edge of the box. Where in other games It'd be Dom on his own, and someone might just be
that's
there.
That's going to be the key as well when we go back to playing against teams in the low block. That position where you've got where as you say, where Sadibi's making those runs, and it's not predictable, and then the low block won't be able to cater for that because they'll have to come out of the positions then, and that's the key with positional play. You're moving players around. Richarlison's not really a centre forward, just to stand in the middle, wait for the ball.
No.
He's moving between the lines, and Wobie's overlapping, and that's what we need to do constantly. So hopefully, if we stick with the style of play, we'll get results.
I think the big criticism of Richarlison the last time he played up front was he went looking for the ball. And
God, no.
But that was the point. He kept on going looking for the ball because there was never any support. Yeah. And that's what I was saying before about the centre forward. Richarlison, if he's playing up front and there's not runners coming off him, he'll go looking, and then you haven't got a centre forward. So we've got to keep playing with that energy up with, you know, the two wide man and a Wobie, and that's not going to come with slow midfielders to get near them. And we've got to do that Saturday. You know, you've got to continue for every game.
You mentioned before Tom Davies. You know, I just wanted to quickly touch on Tom Davies because of how many forward passes he played, and ended up with an 85% pass completion rate. I think most of he had more forward passes than anybody on the pitch. 20 forward passes. Completed 18 of them, I think. Therefore, for me, that was a key difference in this game. The fact that he looked head up and it was forward every pass.
Well, remember when Tom came into the first team? I think it was the we beat Leicester on Boxing Day, and I think we went to Hull and drew 2-2, and then did we have Southampton? We beat them 3-0, and I just remember that pass he played into Lukaku, first time pass right into Lukaku. Lukaku didn't have to do anything. It was bang in goal, and that's Tom when he's not thinking about it, he's doing it, and he's being asked to do that.
Confidence.
It's confidence, and I think we seen that on Saturday because he knew he had good plays to pass to. He didn't overthink things. There's been criticism of Tom, and I think it's, you know, at times it's been fine. Is that he overhits passes or underhits passes, whereas on Saturday it was just popped off straight away. Someone like Gomez, and then we're starting again. Yeah. And I think if he keeps doing that, he's got. Listen, this is on Tom Davies now. I fully believe he's got the talent. It's whether he can put it into practice and find that level of consistency. Listen, we've just seen a big white myth playing for West Ham. They're Declan Rice, right? That they're all raving about.
That's Matthew Rice.
Now the reason why they rave about him is because I do think he's got a level of consistency in his game. A great level, but he's got a level of
wonderful sideways pass.
No, but he's got a level of consistency that allows him to play every week, and that's got him in the England team. Mad. Now, if Tom could play every week and found that level of consistency, 7 out of 10 is your low bar, then you know, for me, he'd play every week. But he's got to find that consistency. But then again, he's got to play every week.
Do you know what the key is, though? Right, and this is the problem with football and fans as well, is that Tom Davies' natural game is to do what he did on Saturday, is just make those snap decisions. When he's under criticism, when he's under pressure, and he feels like his team, you know, he hasn't got a place in the team because if he makes a mistake, he'll be out of it. He starts overthinking things, and that's the problem with football, and that's what affected Ross Barkley. It's affected other players, not just for Everton, for other teams as well. You know, you look at Kovacevic when he went to Real Madrid, not the same player now as he was at Inter, because he got in his head that he couldn't make mistakes, and he started overthinking things. And if Tom plays his natural game, and what the key with Tom was on Saturday, and Andre Gomez is usually the man to do this, is the tempo. Because they were just getting it out of the midfield quickest forward to the forward players. West Ham could never settle. Now, whereas when Schneiderlin, he takes a couple of touches, he knocks back to the centre half, gets it back,
and it's gone.
It all resets, and that's the key. If you're going to play on the front foot, you need players who make those snap decisions, as you say, right into Iwobi, right into Bernard, straight away. I don't know why I'm stamping because they can't see it, but you know, that's the key with Tom, and I think if you let him play his natural game, and I read an article today where he said he's the presence and the future of Everton, so they obviously believe in him, and you know, I hope the manager puts that belief in him and gets a run of games. Now I know you've got Fabian Delph probably coming back from injury, but you should just say, well, Fabian, you've got any place in the team. You know?
That's, if you build that culture of, if I play well, I keep my place, I think everyone then feels like it's fair.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you just keep going, well, he's back. It's different if you've got a world-class player and he has to play. If you've got a centre forward that scores you 30 goals, whatever, he has to play. He simply has to play.
I think what's good about Saturday is that we're talking about players like Walcott played well, he hasn't been in the side. Tom Davies played well, he hasn't been in the side. Gomez hasn't been in the side because of injury. Sadibi hasn't been in the side. Iwobi hasn't played central. So suddenly we're talking about players who haven't been involved, who were the catalyst for that win. Obviously the consistency started with Mina at the back, who was brilliant.
Superb,
yeah. Keane looked comfortable with them. We looked a little bit better on set pieces.
I thought Pickford as well.
Pickford made a great save. kicking was a little bit dodgy at times. But
I don't mind trying to get it. I know he sometimes overplays kicks and stuff. I don't mind trying to get us out quickly though. Sometimes.
No, I don't. As long as I don't.
I know he's not consistent at times, but
as a whole, it was the plays. Bernard coming back into the side on the left. Help Dean. Do you know what I mean? It's all those little things that clicked into place.
That's one of the things I wanted to bring up. You know, like when we did start the season a bit rough after the Villa game, it was Bernard who was the one who was dropped. And I think that's the way you look at it. That's from a culture aspect. You think Richarlison and Sigurdsson in that time were having really bad games. You think you shouldn't drop a player who's in form. That sends a bad message to the team. And I think that's why Bernard's back on the team. He should stay in the team. And then, you know, you shouldn't, as you say, build that culture. Don't drop players who are actually in form for players you like. It's just the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, so anyway, it was a good win, and obviously let's hope that, you know, Mina's not trained so far this week. Let's hope he's fit for the trip of Brighton. It's important, isn't it? Obviously Mason Holgate's on standby, but Mina's been the best defender we've had this season, so let's hope he's fit. Obviously Seamus, he'll be back after suspension, and we know that Delphin Schneiderlin are trained as well, so he's gonna have it's going to be a big moment for him at the weekend, and we can talk about that obviously in part 3 when we discuss Brighton. In part 2 we're going to be discussing how rubbish the Premier League is, or is it,
or is parity winning finally?
We'll see it in a minute.
Thanks for downloading the Toffee TV podcast, but did you know we put all our shows out as podcasts? Head over to patreon.com/Toffee TV EFC and you'll find all the latest shows available as podcasts exclusively for Patreon subscribers. So if you need to find all the latest Everton news, conversations, stats, match previews and match reviews as easily downloadable podcasts at your convenience, head over to Patreon.
Welcome back to part 2.
God, put some enthusiasm into it, Baz, for God's sake.
Well, I'm just still getting over that voice you were doing.
Well,
his enthusiasm is for how great the Premier League is at the moment.
To be fair, I was too busy. The voice came from simply by showing you that picture Joe had shown us.
Joe.
I mean, if that doesn't end up on Instagram.
Joe wants people to give him stick, doesn't he?
Joe Angelo.
He must.
To be fair though, I think he definitely could be the next Van Gogh. Definitely.
What's the fellow who did Heart Attack?
Tony Hart.
No,
Morph.
the one after Neil. Neil Buchanan. Not that old. Come on, Tony Hart.
Yeah, Heart Attack's Neil Buchanan. I'm thinking of Heart Beat. Did you ever watch that and just...
No, I was thinking... As soon as you said
Heartbeats, I was thinking...
Heartbeats.
Why do you miss when my baby kisses?
The local...
We're definitely getting a YouTube strike.
Full on Nick
Copyright. That sounded exactly like Nick Berry or whoever sung it in the 60s. No, he didn't send it. Unless he had a time machine.
Remember that one?
In the 60s. I thought Barbie was a new programme when I was a kid.
It was set in the 60s, wasn't it?
All the songs were from the 60s.
Well, why was the local villain some old alpha who wore a parka?
Claude Green.
Because he had parkas in the 60s. Oh my God, he had a car.
He had a pair of night coats. Like
they didn't have wheels on cars in the 60s.
No, Heart.
I'm confused.
Wasn't that always a thing that Neil Buchanan, obviously from Liverpool, he's probably from Birkenhead. Remember when he was on number 73 with Sandy Toksvig as a kid? It was a terrible
number 73.
Sandy from Bristol.
Yeah, it was a Saturday morning show. It was on ITV. It was called Number 73, and the idea was it was a house and you went in all mad stuff, and she presented it, and he was on it as well. But there was always that thing, wasn't there, that Neil Buchanan was the person who created Heart Attack, and he sold the rights all around the world, and he's like a multi-millionaire now. Like literally, he just sold the rights to it because I think it ended up on the Disney Channel with like Americans doing it, and he made an absolute fortune. But fair play to him, he didn't just I'm retiring, I'm done. I've got me money. I'm not making a picture of a cat. I'm not making a picture of a cat out of bin bags anymore. Where you can only see it if you're on a crane lift.
Oh, poor Tony Hart.
What's it going to be?
Tony Hart's there with Morph.
Oh, Tony Hart was great though.
Morph was morphing it up.
You probably aren't young enough to remember when we were off in the summer and it started 9 and there'd just be a list of programmes, and one of them was Heartbeat, and then they had the viewers corner, and they were always just crap. Little Jeffrey has done a picture of a cat. No, it doesn't look like a cat. It looks like a horse having a fit.
Are you one of those people who wrote into Points of View?
No, I'm
Points
not.
of view.
Points of view.
How about Fingy?
And I turned on the news this week to be confronted by the newsreader, and he was ginger. I've never seen it. Why do I pay my licence fee? Anne's like, well, I'm ginger, so piss off.
I'm going to be doing a game show in a few years, and I won't give $2 on that either.
Points of view. Why do people come? So what did I hear
Shouldn't you
this
see like
morning?
a points of view, like a Twitter points of view on like Sky, where people just write in.
Someone, I
that
heard this
explode?
morning. I was coming into it. Well, I was going somewhere in the morning. It has to be a Wednesday.
I'll
And it
I'll
was,
have the song.
and it was the BBC have upheld
Steve,
it.
no fuck all.
The BBC have upheld the 200 complaints about who's the fella who does the politics show on a Sunday.
Not Pest, that's on ITV.
No, the other
Andrew
one.
Neil.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah, because remember when he
Andrew Marr,
no, because he told Petty Patel off last week for laughing.
Nice.
And he said, why are you laughing? And the BBC said, we've upholded the complaint against them because that's a natural resting face. So a natural resting face is a smirk, apparently.
Okay.
So they've gone with the why would anybody?
You're going to rant now.
No, but why would honestly you complain to the BBC about, like, you watch something, you just go, no, you just turn it off. Why are you asked?
People want to complain that.
Because people complain about everything. Like, you know, like Little Mix come out in those outfits, complaints.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who's complaining about Little Mix?
People.
They're too sexualised for their audience.
You
I'm not being
complained,
funny.
didn't you?
I remember I went to see Nicki Minaj once. I mean,
Why did you go and see Nicki Minaj? Question. Well, obviously why, but why did you go and see Nicki
I
Minaj?
thought you turned into Destiny's Child. The question, how?
I honestly thought you were in the
I was the fourth member
I
of
thought you
Mr.
were
Cuss.
Dwight Schrute for a minute.
I went to see them because I went to see them. Let's not
go
labour
there.
on the point.
Let's not.
But,
Right, okay.
but
And
it was
Minaj, what
but it
was
was
happening with
hilarious
Minaj? Was she
because
loving
Minaj, she's like doing. If anyone's ever listened to one of her albums,
Yeah,
it is all
it's
full.
naughty,
There's
yeah.
there's a song
It's
about
awful, yeah.
there's a song about pissing on people, right? So all these people are
People
turned
get on
up.
my back for swearing. Continue.
But all
Again,
these
once
people.
again, the explicit thing.
That's a piss, that's not a swear bit. So all these people are turned up. I mean, actually doing it on something. I mean, that
change
would
the
get a
past.
sound.
Yeah, okay, go on.
So if you listen to her album, it's just full of
Yeah.
References.
all kinds.
Yeah, all kinds of
But
stuff.
when the songs end up on the radio, they're obviously highly censored, or she's changed the
Yeah,
words.
yeah.
So all these mothers have turned up with their 6-year-old daughters,
Oh, and
and Nicki
she's-
Minaj ain't changing for nobody. Girlfriend.
She's still Nicki from the block.
She ain't changed. No, that was Jenny. She ain't
No,
changed.
it's
So
Jenny.
the mad thing is, she actually got some kids on stage, and she was like, "What's it fucking like to be here?" Like, and the kids are like,
No impressions.
Kids are like,
kids are like,
this is great.
"This is honestly though some of the songs."
And she had like a pair of shorts about this big.
Yeah.
I can't see, by the way, but it's about an inch.
I mean,
Hey, we've all got problems.
so yeah,
So, remember Why Don't You?
yeah.
Why don't
and
you? That was another
It was
classic.
done from the prom.
Yeah.
It was done from the prom.
Yeah.
I mean, if they turned the camera down, they would have seen a lot more. Why don't you?
Yeah.
Well,
Why
what's
don't you
this?
go away? Another
What's
kids
that? What's
programme
what?
years ago.
What's
Let's
the,
move
what's the
on.
prom?
Oh, forgot you were from Aintree.
Ooh, sorry. What's wrong with you? Oh, sorry, from Egbirth.
Yeah.
Egg where they birth.
Back me next
Southend.
life. Anyway,
Chicken-
as
chicken
we
leg
as
Where we actually can see the liver.
part 2 of this is about the Premier League. Let's move on from Saturday morning
Yeah.
TV in the 80s.
Did you generally never seen Why Don't You?
Oh, Why Don't You was like kids and
They were like
someone would
kids.
say like for people
I
write in and
didn't
go,
see Tiz was
why
either.
don't
No, I mean, I
you
never.
build a ship out of bloody blah and you'd have to do
So like
stuff.
Blue Pizza segment. But
Not
a bit
fair,
of
kids,
yeah, but it was
for
like
kids,
kids.
by kids.
By kids, it was good.
I don't like 4 Kids by Kids shows. It's really, they're really annoying. Like the Disney Club.
Did this? I mean, I don't know. Did you never see
Well,
Tiz
probably
Was?
all right.
Wow.
Did you never see Tiz Was?
Well,
I only remember
I've only
the-
seen the go back clips.
I
where,
remember.
you know,
Yeah.
Seven
But
Mac
did you ever
came
know
on
that
and-
they did the like Tiz Was at night?
Oh yes, I've heard about
So
this.
they did made Tiz Was, and they were like, well, because it was basically Tiz Was like, it was funny, it was for kids,
the-
but all the jokes were really for the
Like
adults.
SMTV.
So they went, well, let's make it for adults, and then it was like, well, how can we make it? How can we make it for adults? And they just started doing stuff. No, like when you watch shows, and it's like, remember in Brookside when they made the
They just
director
throw swearings,
videos,
yeah, just-
and they were allowed to swear, and they just swear for no reason.
no reason.
Ma'am, where's me in tea? Like, no, there's
no reason.
No reason.
Barry Grant just dropping F-bombs.
Yeah, Barry Grant with a shotgun. Oh, come on, Jimmy, lads, let's just go and destroy them. Literally, it was like that.
It's a little Jimmy.
Hey, he was in Grange, yeah?
Little
He was
Jimmy.
in Grange,
Did you know Grange Hill's in Liverpool now?
I thought that was Waterloo Road. That's in Scotland now. What are we talking about?
Granger's
Have you
been
never-
in
have
Liverpool
you-
for
have you
years.
never-
I know Phil Edmonds, who was from
Have you ever
Liverpool,
picked
didn't
up?
It's in the
Have you-
Blackwoods.
Have you ever?
I'm
No,
a lot
never
of
have you never
Blackwoods.
picked up from Hollyoaks on the cabs?
he? No.
Oh, I used to pick up all the time there. So you go in. So you go in.
Chilwell.
So
starters.
By the Chilwell Abbey pub. It's the,
you go in, and it's where
Hollyoaks.
it's where Brookside's. Remember Brookside's petrol
The
station?
the parade.
That's where that used to be with the helicopter.
Wasn't a
club.
Brookside fan,
So
but
you
I know
drive
everything,
in there, and on the left is Hollyoak, and you've got the duck and dog and all that. But then
David
ahead
Doe.
of you is Grange Hill, because they changed brought it up here.
Just to clarify, Hollyoaks and Grange Hill have merged.
But they're in the same
They're in
place
the
in
film
Liverpool.
So are
same
they?
studio.
Are they in the same
Universe.
narrative
They're in the
world?
same universe.
Yeah.
It's the new MCU.
So do they go from Grange Hill to the college in Hollyoaks? Question.
Well, they do if they move from London to Chester.
Right.
No.
Listen,
I want
we were talking about
clarification.
the Premier League and we've moved on
I
to...
I know, but
Joy.
I've seen your notes.
We've moved on to programmes that are
blank
as
piece of
bad
paper.
as the Premier League.
Well, this is
season.
him. He was like before, what are we going to do for the middle segment? Can we just talk about television?
It's never do to sound like that, to be honest.
You do. You walk in and go, "Hi guys," and you pirouette.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, that's not me.
Nothing wrong with that. We can listen if you just want to do TV.
That's
Fine.
because you don't live by the coast.
Well,
What happens when you go?
Thug
go
as a
Let's
father.
just talk TV then.
I love TV.
No, come on. Let's talk Premier League.
Oh, okay.
Let's become a TV show.
It
It
is.
has become a TV show. So the Premier League this year is crap.
Well, is it crap, or
Yeah.
is it the teams that are all of a similar level and
Quality
you've just got,
is poor.
one team who, questionable, and the other team of Man City, that's the, obviously Liverpool are well run. They have spent money, by the way, people seem to forget this. Man City are obviously a super team with a great coach. Liverpool have got a good coach as well. The rest of the league, a lot of the teams in transition, a lot of teams changing coaches. We've moved away from the era of your Chris Hutons, your Sam Allardyce and your Pulis, which clogged the league up for years. And I think that's why you can see a lot, because basically a lot of squads are now having to change into this more expansive football, this football hipster term I like to use. And I think they're struggling to transition. Tottenham obviously have slipped this season. Chelsea is playing a lot of young players. Man United are the mid-table side, it looks like, I think, this season. Really bad.
They're rough then.
And then you've got teams like Everton and Leicester and, West Ham and Wolves, who are probably good enough to make the top of the six this season because of the parity, but are struggling to sort of with that title, I guess, because they're not consistent enough yet.
Do you think just on that? Do you think that it's easier? I'm so mad Everton they could go on a run, but certainly Leicester at the moment. Do you think it's easier for Leicester because even if they've got a team very similar to Man United or Arsenal, do you think just by the simple fact that their best season is seen as a bad season for Arsenal?
Yeah, there's less expectation.
So that they go on a run or whatever, or lose a couple of games or don't win a couple of games, people go, well, that's fine, and it allows Brendan Rodgers to just go, oh yeah, well I can do a few things behind it because no one's really paying attention. I can bring a couple of young team players into the team. When it's Arsenal or it's Manchester United or Tottenham, everyone, it's like the glare's always on them, isn't it?
Sky put the glare on them, don't they? And it's like every week, what's wrong with? There's an article there on Sky. What's wrong with Arsenal? And that happens every single week. Whereas Everton, it's like, oh, Everton spent money.
I don't know. I think
because I think the laughing at Everton more.
We put that pressure on ourselves.
We get a lot of media spotlight negatively
because they don't like the manager.
Because they don't like the manager and because we spent money. I think you're right with the likes of Leicester can go under the listen. Leicester won the league 4 years. It'll be 4 seasons ago when this season finished. So
Very
not that
similar
long
to this
ago.
year as well. A lot of bad teams that year as well.
But there is comparative. But and they were allowed to just bob along because everyone was going, they'll fall away. There was no pressure on them.
Same with Chelsea this year as well.
Yeah, well, Chelsea this year might be successful in terms of
They're
finishing.
so lucky though,
because
they're building the sides because of that ban they were.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
They
saying.
fall upon it, and this is what I was saying in
There'll be a
part
better
one about
position, yeah.
Marco Silva stumbling on something. Lampard, I guarantee you, wouldn't have. A, he mightn't have been the manager had they not had the ban, and B, he probably would have gone and spent money, which means that players like Zuma wouldn't have stayed. He's done all right. Tamori probably wouldn't have got as much game time.
That sounds like a bad idea because we could have had both of them.
Hudson Odoi, people like that mightn't have played as much. Tammy Abraham, they might have gone and bought a different type of striker. So he has had a little bit of luck there. But I think you're right. I think some teams will have the media glare on them, and therefore everything's a crisis or whatever if they're not winning games. But someone like Leicester, someone like Palace even can win games, and people just go, oh yeah, they're doing well. and all that, but no one really believes it because they're waiting for United to make the run.
There was a same with David Moyes when he was at Everton, in the sense that because we were at the hardships of the money at the time. I think that I think the fans expected, and that's obviously towards the end why people got a bit annoyed that we weren't winning things. But on the flip side to that, the pressure wasn't on Moyes to get into the top 4 every year, whereas for Arsenal, Manchester United, that is the be all and end all. Obviously, we would have liked top 4 every year because it would have put us in a financial hole. But
what I find interesting, come half time on Saturday, we'll be a quarter into the season, and it's very hard to. Normally, you've got an idea of where people are going to be. I know, and we said this last season, didn't we? It's that middle section of the season that really defines what group of teams you're going to be in. And I still think that'll be the case. But it's really interesting at the moment that I don't look at the league and go, well, they're definitely going down, or they're definitely getting Champions League.
Not Newcastle, no.
No, because I still think that because a lot of teams are still close together, there's still that opportunity that some teams will go. So you could look at Sheffield United and go, they'll stay up, but then you go, if they have they hit a bit of a bad run because they're actually not that far away from the other teams. I know it's still quite early, but we are.
2 teams I'd say are in trouble so far are Newcastle and Southampton.
I'd say Norwich are in trouble because they're so open as well.
I think because Newcastle haven't got a goal in them, so they're
using it, Joel didn't wrong.
Exactly, so he can't do. I think I look at Southampton and I just think. Nah,
I think they'll
when
get it
you
together.
bob around that bottom for so long without making any significant strides, you're in trouble.
I think they're building. So if you speak to people who watch like Southampton, Carl Anker did a piece on the Athletic about them, and they're trying to build something. They understand that they're going to be a bottom half team because they're trying to get the young players. They're trying to see what Pochettino did again.
No, that comes back to expectations, doesn't it? Southampton fans are like, we like this manager, we're going to give him time, we understand, and I think that takes the pressure off. Southampton fans might be looking at us and going, you're not much better. Okay, you've had a win on Saturday, but you're not much better. That's the way they look at it.
And obviously we are. Though, isn't it?
No, we are, but
level of play
they understand the problem with difference is what Ped said. They understand what their manager's trying to do. He's trying to set principles. They know what he's trying to do, and they're probably going, he hasn't got the players. It's going to take a couple of windows for us to get there. Whereas Everton, we've bought good players, and we haven't set up a team yet where you can add players, sprinkle players in. I don't know why I'm doing the hand actions, but we are. So if Marco can now stumble on this system and he starts adapting players and you go to Sigurdsson, how do you play in this system, and otherwise we're going to have to transition you out, or Schneiderlin or Coleman, whoever, then that'll work then. Then the fans will go, right, we've got a style in the system, we're a couple of players short, we'll go with it. That's the difference.
I just think it's crap though, honestly I do. I look at the standard, and the irony is we've got the reigning Champions League winners and the reigning Europa League winners, but I look at it and just think
and the reigning defending winter champions the last 10 years as well.
I just look at it and just think it's not very good, is it? Because the standard of the teams it just doesn't strike me as.
Has the standard of the league gone up in the sense that it's more exciting to watch because it is more open, instead of teams going, we can't go down? Like there's only a few teams now who are basically decided that like Roy Hodgson, for example, they play a certain Eaton Worm, Sean Dyche. They obviously they can't go down. Their whole essence is to not lose games. It's pick up draws, pick up wins where you can. Whereas a couple of seasons ago, half the league was like that. Yeah. So now people looked at Eddie Howe and thought, well, he plays naive, open football, whatever, and stays up. A lot of teams aren't Potter. That's why Potter.
That's Brighton. Well, I think one of the reasons genuinely is that if you haven't got a dominant top 6, then there's clearly more games to win then, isn't there, for everybody else? If the top 2 are going to beat everybody pretty much, but if for everyone down, because I think you look at it now, you said this a couple of times, Baz, you're not scared of anyone in the league above the top 2, really. You know what's going to happen when you play the top 2. It's going to be a tough game and you're going to have to ride your luck if you're going to get a result. But everyone below that, you look at it and go, we can beat them. And if everyone feels like that, then they will get beat. And that's like that's where the paradox comes from. There's worse teams, but it might take more points to stay up this season because the teams in the bottom 3. Certainly a couple of them probably will get 36, 38, maybe back to 40
Watford
again this season.
Should get 30 odd points.
Watford, I think, have been unlucky in certain games, and I'm not saying they've been good because they haven't
won a game yet.
No, they haven't. But like the Arsenal game, they should have won that. There's been a couple of games that have gone against them. I think they'll pick up results in the end, but I think what's going to make up for, and I think what's going to be interesting is January. I think you're going to see quite a lot of business done in January because there's a lot of teams who can go, we might be able to meet Europe this year, so we're 1 or 2 players away. We've got a chance of staying up, so we might gamble and stay up, Sheffield United, teams like that. And then there's, obviously Chelsea, well, they can't buy players. But apart from them, though, a lot of teams are going to be looking, we might be able to get, make a lot of teams like gamble. Because if you're in 10th by Christmas, I don't think you're going to be that far off 6th. Because I think it's going to be that close.
This is the I remember when Leicester won the league, and I remember the January before, and we were doing a show down from here, and Robbie was here, and he was talking about buying a striker, and he was like, there's no point. And I was like, what are you talking about? You could easily win the league if you went out and bought.
They were up there.
If you went and bought, because I think at the time they were getting linked with Aubameyang at the time, and they were like 40-50 million, and Wenger wouldn't spend them. I was like, if you get a striker who scores you 20 goals or 15 goals from now to the end of the season, you're winning this league. And he was like, no. I was like, you will do, because it's so open.
And we ended up buying him 12 months later.
And it's the case this season. You're right. If January, I imagine there'll be a little bit more done, because people will think, well, yeah, because if we buy a striker, we pay X amount for a striker, and he gets us in those European places, those Champions League places. That's
paid for himself.
He's paid for himself. If you're or even the relegation place, you're thinking, well, if we go and buy someone who can get us 10 goals,
130 million stay up, innit? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So
I just look and think the quality of it. It's overhyped anyway. It's massively overhyped. The Premier League, technique wise, it's miles behind other leagues. You look at what the Premier League are incredible at is the PR they do for themselves. It's marketed.
They just brought a fella in to be the person in charge of the Premier League, and that's what he is. He's a marketing director.
Fella. So it's hyped up brilliantly. This is the best. This is the best that. But actually, it's not football wise. It isn't. You can tell when you watch it. It's not. But you're right, and in some respects, is that it might be more exciting because there isn't. You can't nail on the top 6 and go, they're done, and everyone else is playing for nothing. This year, we've got Liverpool who have come out flying out the traps, but they just dropped 2 points at the weekend, and
they were poor,
and they played poor.
They've not been that good. I know they've won games. Look at Liverpool. They've not been great all season. The defence is now starting to leak goals, which last season before Christmas they kept like 12 clean sheets, didn't they? So I think City obviously have got injury problems, and they should have signed a centre half in the summer. So even them 2 teams are beatable on the day. I think Liverpool, once the shine comes off of winning all these games, they're gonna start drawing more games. That's generally what Liverpool do. But if Everton are in 7th come January, does Marcel Brands go 3 points off top 4, 130 million? That 50 million you get for just.
Well, I think that's what last season we didn't do, is because we weren't in that.
No, we weren't. Right, yeah.
So we probably looked at it and gone, we don't need to buy. Whereas this year, I imagine they'll probably
centre backs are definitely
centre back they'll look for. And it's mad how quickly football can change.
Yeah.
Last couple of weeks we've been debating whether we should have a new manager or not. Or some of us have been debating. Some of us have just been like, yeah, we definitely should go to China and get him.
I didn't say that.
So things change very quickly, and we were saying
Germany and get him.
We were saying this last. We were saying this last year, though. We were saying this last year going into that derby game. We were like, everyone was very, very positive, and
we were doing well at that point.
But we were talking about it, saying this next month, 2 months is going to define where we end up, and we get to January, and we were in such a mess that the club never bothered, because they were thinking to themselves, we're going to be all right, but there's no point going out and rushing and buying a player who won't actually aid us. We've done that before. We got Walcott, we got Tosin,
McGeady.
So get him now. You better get him now. It's worth $500,000. Go and get him. No, but so they've got to make that decision. I really hope we're in a position in January where they look at it and go, we don't need a centre forward because Keane's flying and Richarlison's flying, and we don't need that. But we do need a centre back, because naturally we need a centre back. We've only got 3, and I don't want to lose Mina, I don't want to lose Keane, but they might say, well, just simply by the lack of being able to rotate, we'll need one. But it's what I do find interesting as well about it. If it is so open and the quality is down, why aren't we seeing more young players actually given a chance?
Because the financial's still there, that issue's still around, and I know teams are changing now to think that they can stay up by playing that open style. But look at us, if we were in the bottom 3 in 3 weeks' time, for example, for a fact the manager get changed, and that's it's more the managers now. I think the clubs are probably a bit more open minded, and I think clubs are looking a bit more longer term.
Do clubs play enough youngsters. And I'm talking about people who are coming through. Forget even ones that you sign from Europe.
The pathways, no, they don't.
They don't, because Everton, people will criticise Everton.
Criticise every club as well.
Oh, the pathways to it isn't what it. I've seen this like the last couple of weeks. It's not, with like Lewis Gibson and people like that. The pathway isn't what it was, right? And then you look but then you look at other clubs.
Over there.
You look at others, don't you? You look at Liverpool and you go, oh, Liverpool have got a great pathway. I seen this thing the other day.
No, they haven't.
Liverpool's pathway's great because Harvey Elliott's already played for the first team this season. You're like,
Harvey Elliott's will be out on loan next season.
Would Harvey Elliott have played for Liverpool in the Carabao Cup if they were 6th in the league?
No, because we'd try to win it.
Because they would have wanted to win it. They've had to go and gone, that's probably the least of our worries because we're in the Champions League.
The only team that actually at the moment is actively playing young players is Manchester United because they're trying to be the Ferguson DNA, which they were a special bunch, the class 92.
Yeah. Isn't that again another sort of weird paradox of the Premier League in the last few years? Has been all the top 6 or the players, teams in Europe, will always play young players in the Carabao Cup, or some will.
Well, Arsenal started, didn't they? They
played some will.
Teams,
but then some of them won't because some of them are like, hang on, the Carabao Cup is a great chance for us to win something, so we want to put our first team
and we're in Europe.
And then everybody else sort of goes, well, you know what? We can't really afford to play this because we're always looking over our shoulder. Everyone's always having just that little look because you've just got to make sure you get the points first, and we all want new shiny things, and there's money to get new shiny things as well. So it almost goes against itself. And we spoke about this. The under-23s for me, it's just too much of a jump. And
for everyone, not just for Everton, is it?
The leasing.com Cup certainly doesn't fill the gap either. So it's.
I'll be attending in 2 weeks.
So it is difficult unless you get a real star, but then I don't know. I suppose a team who are playing young players at the moment is Newcastle because again they've got to, haven't they? They've got a decent.
They haven't got the quality yet, and I suppose if you're Steve Bruce, would you rather have had to live and die by the club in the Longstaff brothers or midfielders 3 managers who want to get rid of Henry Survey, for example. But the problem with the clubs and the pathways, people go, Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's a special talent, isn't he? Really, and. Let's be honest, if Liverpool had spent 80 million on right back, he wouldn't be getting a sniff.
Yeah,
but it just happened. They happened to have an opening there.
At the right time.
They got very lucky there because but
they've got other good
to climb, wasn't there?
They've got other good young players, and you'll never see. They've got Solanke, who's decent. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but they didn't ever even give him a chance. Do you know the differences now between like 10 years ago and now is? Used to be 18. A squad used to be 18 players. Now it's 25. And like the second 11 playing the Carabao Cup, not the kids anymore, and that's it. And so
too many subs. Too many subs.
We've said it loads of times. Subs are the problem.
And agents who went around saying that like the reserve league had to end because like Attilio Lombardo wouldn't play for Palace reserves, for example, on a Wednesday night. And kids got better by playing against those players. They don't now. They just play the lads they play when they were 13 and 14 still.
Yeah, that's where
Everton do need to create a pathway though, and every team does really, in the sense that it'll save you money. If you've got a talented youngster, whether it be Anthony Gordon, obviously main example, he needs to have a pathway where we go in a year. So he's going to be in and around the first team.
To me, I know we didn't start something about the youth, but the other problem is there's simply not enough good kids. There isn't because everyone now you used to have your own patch, right? And you'd have your own patch, and Everton and Liverpool be after all the same players, and they'd have to make a choice. Now anyone can come in for those players. They've changed the rules so that anyone can get anyone. There's no compensation.
Couldn't get anyone.
Well, that's it. But there's no compensation now for teams who develop young players. So a lot of clubs are like, well, what's the point in having a youth team if we lose them for buttons? So they're not having them. So those kids, there's obviously all the other factors of we're losing the players to Fortnite and all that, which is fine because at the end of the day, I've got no problem in that. When people used to tell me as a kid to stop playing footy. I mean that if there's
no ball games allowed.
if there's a lack of talent, I blame all those albs who used to moan at us playing footy in the street.
Too loud. No ball.
And now you have to pay £60 an hour to play on a private facility because there's no fields left because they've got rid of all the fields, and all the kids are herded like cattle into academies, any of the decent ones, which takes all the spark out of them. Take all the spark, the natural spark, and that's the problem, is that there aren't enough kids, and so someone like Newcastle will have better players because they've probably got more to pick from, because you're not gonna.
But even Everton, no, like, you know, you look at, like, and I know he's not doing that well at the moment. Tom Lawrence was a kid. He was at Everton, wasn't he? And Man United came and that was it. He got to Man City and Chelsea do that with everyone now. Even at Everton, they could probably take players off Everton.
Well, that's the thing. No, now we've seen Everton get done for it. We've seen Liverpool get done for it. We've seen City, United, Chelsea. Everyone's getting done for getting caught trying to take kids off.
Well, Chelsea were doing a bit worse. They were offering African players dads jobs to get them in the country.
Listen. When clubs have been offering kids, mum and dads, houses and jobs as scouts for absolute years.
It's banned now.
I look at the thing with academies, and I'm still yet to be convinced that taking kids at 6 and 7 pays off.
Well, no, because you look at Germany at all. I've got the book mentioned. Is
it good?
Yeah, it's really good. And one of the ideas is the fact that Germany created this team of great players. This team is great players in 2014, and they all played the same style. They could all pass. But now it's a couple of years later, and they're having to buy Jadon Sancho's, Kingsley Coman's, because these players could solve problems one-on-one that players who are robots can't.
It's exactly right.
And this is what's going to happen in football if the academy system stays. The kids don't even have to play for the schools anymore.
Well, that's it.
You used to be able to, the best players used to go to Cardinal Leaning, for example, and play every week.
We couldn't, when I was at Everton, we weren't allowed to.
I suppose there's a flip side to that, though.
But you weren't allowed.
That's supposed to, but they should.
But there's a flip side to that, because then you get people like Ademola Lookman, who had all the skills in the world but doesn't know how to transfer them onto an 11-a-side game. Sancho's been, and the likes of Sterling, they've been able to do it quite seamlessly. So I think you need a bit of both.
But Lookman's a really good example, because he's a professional footballer. He's had 2 multi-million-pound transfers already in his career. He's only been in footy for 4 years, 21-year-old. Yeah, he didn't have any academy training.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but he hasn't got the discipline.
No, he hasn't got the discipline, but it just shows you that if you've got the ability and you play, it doesn't mean you're not good enough to be a footballer. You just have to be able to. What he needs to do is become a student of the game now and really go, right, hang on. I've got all the tools.
Let's be honest.
Doesn't that suggest?
Club for it now.
But doesn't that suggest, though, you need a bit of both? Yeah. That you need to be trained the discipline of football. And I think this.
Do you think the only way to make footballers is to take them at 7 and 8?
No, but this is what. But I think you need better both, and I think this is what Ajax are very good at. Ajax take footballers and they played him in every position. I think there's a
total football.
You were telling me, I think someone was telling me last week, the quote by Dennis Bergkamp was like, we played him in every position and it doesn't matter what happens, whether we win, lose the game. That player understands every position on the pitch.
You can fill it in, yeah.
But it's not just about filling, it's about when you come against those players and understand. It's why centre-backs make good centre-forwards and why good centre-forwards make good centre-backs. And what they do is they probably, it wouldn't surprise me if they're playing in small, cage-type football, in training and then go and do an 11-a-side. Futsal's a big thing as well. That's why, but then the other side of it is that you've seen there was Danny Donachie come out last week, didn't he? He said players don't have the hunger. At Everton you've got Mina, you've got Richarlison and you've got Bernard, and he's absolutely right though.
You can't mirror them conditions.
No, you can't.
But he's right though, because you've got
the same with tennis though as well.
Hang on, Benoit Akoto, right, said on more than one occasion, I don't even like football, I hate it.
Well, he got his family dodged, didn't he?
But he doesn't like it. He just said, I'm good at it. And there's now, when we were kids, and I'm including you in this, and as well, but when we were kids, being a footballer was a dream because you loved football.
Yeah, it was.
Right? Yeah. I wanted to be a YouTuber.
Fair enough, well, you're living your dream, well done, big guy. But you want to be, Billy does. You want to be a footballer, right? Because you just want to play football. You didn't want to be a footballer because you thought, I'll earn 50 grand a week, right? The money was.
Used to play for your club.
The money was secondary. You want to be a footballer to pull on an Everton kit or a Toffee TV. So I don't know why I held that. To pull on your shirt, badge.
Pays the bills, love.
That's it. You wanted to wear your team's colours. That's it. They just play, because playing football was the most exciting thing ever, and you'd imagine doing that as a job.
And you still want to make
nowadays, kids go. How much football's on?
My nephew said to me when he was about 7, he's a good footballer. My nephew, he's a good sportsman all around. Playing, what is he playing at the moment?
Rugby.
That's another thing, by the way.
He's playing rugby now because of the school. But he said, I remember him saying, he said, what the footballers earn? And I was like, oh, they earn this amount. I might become a footballer then. It wasn't.
Wish it was that easy.
And this is a kid who's been going to match since he's 4 years of age, been everywhere to watch Everton in the country, score all the ways. He's just a kid, but he just went, what did he earn? I was like, they earn this much. And then he's not really like that now. But he was fascinated by money and how much he could earn from different things. And that's the problem. It wasn't And this is a lad who's experienced what it's like to be in matches and to win matches. And this is a kid who also has to go to school and face that lot every day. You know, having watching Everton, but there was never that idea of, I want to be a footballer so I can kiss the badge. It was like, what did they earn?
What did they earn?
You know
And that's the problem. And the more you get now, you're getting a whole nation of kids
It's like the reality TV thing, you know.
who are like that. Exactly.
Yeah,
You got people who want to be, you know, reality TV.
That's another thing, you know, when you said about kids playing other sports, it's very specialised now. Kids only play football, whereas back, you know, Gary Neville, Phil Neville, cricket players, really, and that can help you.
The reason why that is, and again, they've got the
it,
experience of my nephew. My nephew was playing football, and he went to City. He wasn't at City, but he was in one of those satellite groups. He was at City. But there was almost like this realisation that even though he was only like 11, that he wasn't going to make it because he'd seen how good he had to be. So he went into athletics, but he threw everything into athletics, and he was going to the Harriers every single night. And then when he realised he wasn't good enough to do that, now he's actually started playing rugby, and now he's gone back to football. But now he's just being like, I'm doing it to enjoy it. But that's the point. Is now we're also in a system in this country, and it's created because of the Olympic thing. Is you have to just dedicate yourself to one sport, and that's it. Because this is the Olympic thing, isn't it? We will only give funding to certain sports, but we'll throw everything at you.
Before we got with that though, that's something else I disagree with as
well.
No,
I didn't.
Not just at like the age of 11. Going, I can't make that because that's.
But that's the problem, though, isn't it? The world is so. The world is there now.
It is right. It is, but that's also nonsense as well. I was reading a big thing about Rhys Oxford the other day. Who's Augsburg now, isn't he? And he actually only started playing football when he was 12.
Yeah.
Right, and at 12, he said to his mum, he used to have kick-arounds with his mates who'd never played footy. And he said to his mum, and it might be because of the money. Yeah. He'd hear people going, he can earn that. And he went, Mum, I think I want to start playing football. And she was like, really? And he was like, he said she was unconvinced because I'd never showed any interest. And within 3-4 years, he made his debut for West Ham from nowhere. And he said it was from having no training. He just liked playing footy. And then he went in with that training. So again, I suppose it's a bit like you. But he played 2 years before he was picked up. And then he went into, I think he'd gone to a club and then went to West Ham. And then ended up getting in West Ham's first team and blah, blah, blah. Now he's in Germany, he's made up again, he's dead happy now.
Yeah, he is, because he's trying to give him a chance,
he's playing and what have you. Got sent on a couple of loans, didn't he, and all that. But that was really interesting, because I know Everton a couple of years ago, and he hasn't kicked on, but Everton signed a lad from Ireland who'd only took footy up at 15, and a year later Everton signed him. So you're right.
But again,
for a lot of them.
Well, Shane's still like that, wasn't it? 16, Shane's 16, he started playing football.
Again, though, that comes down to hunger. There's a lad playing in plays for the Carolina Panthers at the moment, NFL lad. He's from London, but he's originally from Africa, and he moved to Amsterdam, and then his mum got his sister and him trafficked to London to live a better life. This kid's lived on the streets and anything. It's only young, right?
Yeah.
Went to NFL, have this program where they go looking for players.
It's national camp, isn't it?
Yeah. And the thing about NFL, for some of those positions, it's all about speed and pace. You don't have to be like
size,
great.
So he's there, but he played last week at Tottenham because he's in the team. I'm watching the documentary about the Carolina Panthers at the moment, like the Man City one. I can't remember, but it's on Amazon, and he got a chance to play, and he hadn't been playing. He wasn't even on the bench. And this first game, he got a chance, and the coach brought him on, and the first thing he did was sack the opposition's quarterback, and then the second thing he done was sack him again, and suddenly he realised that he was boss at just sacking people, so that was his job, and now he's like a big name, and he showed him coming back to London last week, and it was like, this lad, the hunger of having come from nothing and having to prove himself got him from being nothing to being in London. I mean, who dreams of being in London and playing in the NFL? You know, because that dream would seem so far away, and yet he's accomplished his dream because he just had the hunger and desire.
The same with tennis. What they've said with tennis is that Britain don't produce great tennis players because there's no hunger. They just pay loads of money from the kids, and a lot of posh kids who play it. And when Novak Djokovic playing on bombed out pitches, he's got more desire and more will to get better. That's the difference. Whereas same with football. Thomas Tuchel once said, when I was a youth coach, I used to demand the first class coaches, flights, best facilities, and he said now a first team manager to see these kids come and play, would actually want them to be on the most basic way so they earn it all. And
I think we should have, because I think Unsworth tried to win to this. I think we should have like a reality show, come football thing, where you get a fixture and you say to young people,
I've got an idea for a reality show.
right, you start in Liverpool, the game's in London, you got to get yourself there. And the first 11 who turn up, play. And we do that for every game. And we're making a reality show.
Yeah,
and the
first just use Google Maps. You know, that's
yeah, but what if they've got no money?
Then they're going to have to sell themselves.
I mean, they might go too far.
Yeah, I think you have to
maybe get something technical as hell.
Yeah, you might have to. There might be child labour laws.
Well, listen, that started off as it should have been about the Premier League. It was about television. It was about television programmes in the 80s. Moved on to the Premier League not being great. I'm finished with desire of kids.
We'll get Neil Buchanan to host it. And Sandy Toxic and have
more.
He
can actually fund it with his production company.
He could, yeah. Have Morph involved.
Tony Hart, maybe not.
He's dead.
Yeah, no. Maybe not.
And on that note, let's have a break. We'll be back at part 3 to discuss Everton's trip to Brighton.
Break her time.
Thanks for downloading the Toffee TV podcast, but did you know we put all our shows out as podcasts? Head over to patreon.com/Toffee TV EFC and you'll find all the latest shows available as podcasts exclusively for Patreon subscribers. So if you need to find all the latest Everton news, conversations, stats, match previews and match reviews as easily downloadable podcasts at your convenience, head over to Patreon.
Welcome back to part 3 of the Toffee TV
You're
podcast.
Still getting over the realisation that Tony Hart's dead, aren't you?
I can't believe it. I'm devastated. Wanted to see Morph one more time.
Morph's knocking around.
One more time.
He didn't take him with him.
I thought
he
didn't
go.
Him in the
if I'm going, you're going. Morph's like that banging on the top of the seat.
And this
mate,
what was his mate called?
Clay Foreman thing with him.
What was Morph like the naughty Morph? Like Murph?
Murph and Morph. I mean,
Morph.
Morph and Mindy. Brighton at the Amex at the weekend. It's been a bit rubbish.
Do they pay like at the end of the month because it's Amex? No,
who knows?
Cards, yeah.
Who knows?
This card, it's the American Express.
Same thing, same principle.
Oh, here we go. I've got a platinum card.
I haven't.
Well, then shut up then.
Brighton away at the weekend.
Yeah.
Tough game.
Yeah.
Everton rubbish on the south coast.
We are rubbish on the south coast.
Don't like the sun, supposedly.
I don't know whether we don't like the sun. We just don't
we
like
always
the
go
Tories.
It's the Tories.
Sandbank.
It's like the Walking Dead. All the R ones. Young brains.
It's Mario Pellegrini's there.
I mean, I wouldn't quite call that the South Coast.
Well,
but
he's a zombie. He's a zombie.
He might think it's the South Coast. Someone said to him, yeah, you're by the South Coast.
And he loves it.
And he loves it.
And he loves it. There you go. The last 10 games, Everton haven't won there since 2015.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. You could pick anywhere out in the country.
I know, but I'm just saying.
It was like 20 years at one time.
We beat Southampton 3-0 in 2015. It was our last win on the South Coast.
Kit.
We did 3 draws and 7 defeats since. Is it going to change at the weekend?
Let's turn up with a little ambition and have a go at them. You know, last season was dreadful, which was mad because it was the couple of days after we beat Burnley 5-1. But yeah, the manager in all his wisdom said, "Yeah, lads, you're all right.
3-4-3 doesn't
You're all right. You're all right. Yeah, go out and play. I won't change anything."
Did he change the system?
He did change the system.
Yeah, but systems don't work against fatigue.
No,
they don't. It doesn't matter.
That's why the Premier League's the hardest league.
You
change a break this year, though, aren't we?
Yeah, but not till January.
Well, they get paid enough. They
no, here we go. And they shouldn't be depressed either.
I didn't say that.
What are you saying about Meghan Markle?
Who?
Angela?
Merkel?
Right, on to let's move it away from Pep for a minute.
Yeah.
Brighton, tough game.
Yeah, good sides. I'm not going to sit here and say they're like the super side or anything. We should be. I feel we've got. If we play like we did on Saturday, we'll have enough to beat them. Away form needs to start turning around. Marco has to instill the belief by playing exactly the same team. Now, don't be wrong, you can tweak it. You can tweak little tactical things in the team, but have them on the front foot again. Maybe say to Tom and Andre, don't press as high.
Tom and Andre, listen to you. You know them.
Right, not Tom and Jerry, are they?
Clearly not.
Leave them alone. Carry on.
God. I don't know why I lent in for that. Where was I?
Say to Tom and Andre.
So don't press his eye and tell Djibril. I'm going to call him back. I'm going to go full Aldo here and just call him by the names.
Call them all by the name.
No, Djibril CD, don't go too high, but just be a bit more conscious of it tactically. And I think we'll be fine. Then again, why not go out and press them off the park and try it? You can first 20 minutes. That's been the problem with Everton. We start like 3-4 minutes and then it trails off. Against West Ham, it was just back. I don't know if you've seen that, but you know,
Impressive hand move.
It was impressive hand moves, like he'd done it before. Yeah, we've got to get into. I've said for a while now. The away form will get the manager the sack because the home form will be good enough for 7th and 8th, but it's the away form that pushes you into the top 6, and
pushes you closer to the bottom 6.
Yeah, you need.
We don't pick points away from home.
But we don't. What we never do is
away from home so far.
What we never do is go to away games and control the game, and we never come out of an away game even we got beaten going, oh, you know what, we really should have won that. You know, we had maybe Palace last season was one that we really should have won. But you think about like Newcastle for the first half was the last time we went anywhere and really dominated for the game, and then 60th minute, well, more than just that, not bringing on Snidland when he brought on Luchman when he should have just shut out the game and had a bit of game management.
Should have went full noise, yeah.
Well, he should have showed better game management and just snuffed him out.
That's another issue.
Instead, he brought Mina on, didn't he?
Mina had a bit of a nightmare.
He went 3 at the back, didn't he?
3 at the back, yeah.
When he should have just brought Snidland on, but
Snids. That's
what we've got to start doing, and hopefully it starts on Saturday. Brighton have changed the way they play and they're neat and tidy, but at the same time, you look at their team and look at our team and say, if we match their effort, we should be winning the game. But we haven't been matching teams' effort, and we haven't also been clever and cute in games. We've been stupid, and you go back to the last away game against Burnley with Seamus Coleman getting sent off. It's stupid little things. Snidling against Palace. It's stupid little things like that have cost us. The performance, yes, but sometimes you don't have to play well to win away. You just have to be professional and get through certain sticky periods. You go back to last season against Cardiff. First half was a little bit dodgy, but we got the lead, and second half we came out and we looked great because we settled down. We got a second goal, and it was a comfortable win.
Sheffield United come to Goodison, and the manager said at the end that I don't know how we've won that game, but the thing how they won it was they stuck to what they were good at, which was the plan, being defensive, heading clear and everything. And Everton had huffed and puffed and had all the chances. They won the game, and sometimes it's like that. It's being able, to stick to your plan. And what I think we don't do enough of when we go away is impose ourselves on the game from the first minute. We're very
West Ham was the last time.
And when we did it at West Ham 6 months ago or whatever it was, 7 months ago in March, we went out there from the first, and you knew, we all knew within a minute we're on this. We were first to the ball, we had them pressed back, we got the goal, and then once we got the first goal, we got the set, and you ended up, that could have been 8, 9, 10 that day. We destroyed them, and they had a decent side out that day that people had, you were a bit concerned going there. Everton have got that ability, they've got that same ability to go and do it to Brighton at the weekend, but if we sit off them and allow them to dictate the pace and change the team, then we're in trouble.
This is what the Everton have done this season, apart from Sat. That's the first time we've gone out and played above the level of our opposition, whereas usually, even Man City, we played to a higher level. It's in City. We need to have a bit of arrogance, I suppose, Varus, and impose our will, like you say, on teams.
It's not. Don't you think sometimes it's arrogance not to play to that level, though, isn't it? Isn't that after of Everton?
Maybe not. Yeah. Maybe
I think one of Everton's biggest problems in not just last season, or this season, or the season before, is this arrogance that's
too good.
Is this arrogance that's come into Everton that is like, well, we've paid X amount for all these players, so we're already naturally better, so we don't have to work harder. And teams just turn up. Teams turn up like Sheffield United who go, we haven't got as good as players as you, so we're going to work on the system, we're going to work on set pieces, we're going to try and nick a goal early. Seen the other night when they played Arsenal, get in front, and then that's it, we're going to close it all down. Whereas we go, and listen, West Ham fall exactly the same trap as what we do, and we've seen that on Saturday. We go places, and the default setting should be, we're going to work harder than you. We are working harder than you, and actually the class then will rise. And even if the class doesn't rise, we're still working harder than you, and that should give us an opportunity to win the game. We go to far too many grounds and go, let's see what you've got, because we've got all this. We don't actually try hard, and players get away with murder, and that's what has been our biggest downfall in last 3. It's an arrogance that it doesn't belong at Everton, and should never belong at Everton, because none of our great sides had arrogance. None of them. No, they were all built on hard work and having class that rose to the top. Every Everton side, our best players. You think about that. If you think about who everyone's favourite, their dad's favourite player would be like Alan Ball. One of the most hardest working players. But then they'll say he was a great player. Anyone who played in that 8.
Harper. Who? Did you say Alan Harper?
Alan Ball.
Oh, sorry.
Alan Harper was a great player. Was.
Anyone who played in the 80s team had to work hard, had to work their bollocks off.
You and Trevor Stephen?
All of them, they all did.
He works so hard.
Fancy that.
He works so hard. That's the thing with the good players work hard. That's what it is. No good players walk up. Kevin Sheedy maybe was a luxury.
Wonderful left foot though.
But he had an unbelievable left foot. But he was probably the least.
But you can have one player. You can't have 11 players like that. Every
worked.
team's got one player.
He still worked. Other players worked a lot harder.
It's like Cantona.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? And you look and you go with us, and you're right. We went to Villa, and although we dominated, and their manager come out and went, there's no way we should have won that. I don't know how we won it, and we were lucky and all that. Everton didn't perform to the levels they could have. We had all the ball because we had better players.
We did it at Palace. First 20 minutes we came out and we were just like swanning round. We never took the chances. We let them back in. They get a men sent off and they get a point. We did it at Villa. First 20 minutes we should have scored. We didn't. They get a first chance and then Bournemouth. It was exactly the same.
Bournemouth
1-1. There was only one team in it, and the other team went and run away with the game.
Yeah. And that's the frustrating.
That's because there's an arrogance that, we started this game well, it'll be all right, and it's not. And that's what you're absolutely right. On Saturday against West Ham, we got the first goal and we didn't back off. We kept on going and kept on going and kept on going.
Backs against the wall at the weekend. Everyone was feeling it. We had to come out and we had to battle and we had to work. And if we do, I know what you mean after that. Maybe arrogance isn't the right word. Maybe arrogance isn't the right word. Maybe it's a belief in what we are.
Show you the better team.
Yeah, we will work. Fine. We'll work, and that because if you match, like Ped said, if you match your team's endeavour, then your ability will rise. City, how hard the City work, and they're the best. For me, they're still the best team in the land. Liverpool work incredibly hard.
The midfield does all
and they're top of the league.
But how many we've seen this last, like the ones I mentioned when we went to Fulham and when we went to Newcastle, we were for an hour we were fantastic, and suddenly we just dropped off. We stopped playing, and that's what the Premier League's like. You give someone a sniff, certainly if you're playing away. If you give them a goal, and it's like, oh my God, it's only 2-1 here. We can get another one, and sooner the
crowd.
That's what we haven't done. And on Saturday, we obviously put the game away in the 90th minute. But that's the issue. Everton haven't been putting games to bed, and the Wolves game was a prime example of that. Score, let them back in. Score, let them back in, and then we had to go and find a way.
But the difference was, like, you take us against West Ham and take Man United against Liverpool. Obviously, the opposition's different. But against West Ham, even though it was 1-0, we kept on going for that second goal. You watch United against Liverpool, they dropped off and decided they were going to defend. And Liverpool get one chance and scored. And that's what the Premier League's like. You've got to take the risk to go and get that second goal. Obviously, you've got to play the game out if you get a second goal and be professional. But you can't, you've got to be clever and smart and work hard in the Premier League. And I just don't think this Everton team has done that enough. And that's what I'm expecting on Saturday. I think the individuals are in there now to do that, and they've got to do it, because if they don't, then questions will be shown at the manager, certainly if he changes the team.
Do you think he'll change it?
I think Delph might come back in for Tom Davies, and I don't want that to happen. I'm not advocating that, but I think the manager, from a point of view if we're away, he could see, and I don't think Gylfi Sigurdsson will come back in, but I've got a sneaky suspicion that's an option. I don't know.
Why though?
Because the goal. I'm not saying now.
No, I don't think the goal affects anything.
No, it's not the goal. It's goals that he wants. And now, if
his first of the season.
No, but if we start scoring goals though, then no problem. Gylfi being out the side. But if he's coming off the bench and scoring goals, we're only winning 1-0, and he scored the goal.
Well, that's fine if he comes off the bench.
That's the thing with Mark. I think he's stuck with the same formula too long, because those players are the ones, with Seamus Coleman being captain, Morgan Styron being that bridge between the defence and the midfield, and Gylfi Sigurdsson scoring them goals. I think that's why he's stuck with it too long. Whereas when he wants to play his system, you haven't got those goals. Iwobi's still going to have to develop a goal scoring touch. Tom Davies is going to have to develop consistency.
But Iwobi's got as many goals as Sigurdsson.
He has this season, of course, but he's not known for his headed goals.
No, but he should have. He should have scored.
He scored a shot Saturday,
but then stuck that in either corner. He scored.
He's got to get that composure in front of goal, because if he's going to be on number 10, Iwobi, for whatever length of time, he needs to be chipping in with 10 goals a season. That's.
Well, I mean, listen, Gylfi come on at the weekend and put the game to bed. Brilliant technique, but to me, it doesn't change anything.
No, it doesn't change
on the side.
Don't forget as well, though, we've got 2 games in 4 days, isn't it? So
do you know what's also
he's got to manage that.
You can bring Anthony Gordon to that team very easily. That's a side that I like to Anthony Gordon. Whereas when we're playing that Richard style, wouldn't want anywhere near it. Not that we don't play. I think
he'll be on the bench against Watford.
I do. I think he'll play up front against Watford with Charleston on the right, or Walcott maybe. But I think that's what you'll see. But yeah.
No, but for me personally, I think the manager will keep the same team, providing Yerry Mina's fit. By the way, I can see. Ironically, if Holgate plays, I can see Schneidlin or Delph playing
The
tickets
cover,
for the extra insurance.
Which
but
then
I think,
collapses it a bit.
I think
yeah.
if Mina's fit, I think he'll leave the same team because he'd be absolutely stupid to change it. They've got confidence to buzz him.
It's him in his head though, isn't it?
No, well, listen, you're as good as your last game.
You question things.
You're only as good as your last game, and he changed it last
Even
week.
the best managers change things when they shouldn't. Pep does it every year in the Champions League for big games. Gets in his head too much, goes, oh, but what about this? And then he convinces himself there's a problem, there's no problem. And I think that, I'm not saying he should, I don't think he will. I 100% do it, but I think there's potential there for him to go, I need to close the back door as well. And that's where Delph comes in. Not that Delph's a bad option, by the way, but I don't want to see Tom drop, and you can't drop Andre Gomez, can you? But that's the issue.
Let's see what happens, but hopefully he'll keep the same team and we can go there and get a win, and if we get back-to-back wins, that's massive in the Premier League.
Well, yeah, because then it takes the pressure off him as well, then I think, because I'm not saying it's fully off, because it's not, because when you put another bad run away from being under pressure, but if he now stumbles into this style, and I've been very critical of him, and he starts to show me and others and the whole fan base in the club that he has got a plan, and now and then Marcel Brands can then go, well, there's a plan now, I can buy for that plan, like they have been doing, but that's what I want to say. I hope I'm wrong that he's not the right man. I've said this before. I hope he proves me wrong, but if he doesn't, then he'll be out the door. Well, just continue in the vein that you did on Saturday.
That's where we're up to with it, aren't we? And per the win would put us, well, we're only 5 points off like the European place, like top 5, so it's still quite tight, isn't it? So
yeah.
You know, that's big win.
Just need a win. Don't we need a few wins back to back? Get that confidence, get the confidence in the fans ahead of the Watford game as well, which is a really important game. Exactly, yeah. You want to go into that game bouncing that you've just come, because listen, the problem with not winning away games is it stops that mentality of win.
Momentum,
You know, at home we're going to be all right.
Yeah, because the Carcass.
You remember last season we won 3 in a row. So we won a home game, an away game, and a home game. That comes because you win in that away game against Leicester, and suddenly
all of a sudden
you're looking, you're like, oof. And that's when we did go into November. We were in there, and we were like, we can get top 6 here.
We were above United, weren't we? So fingers crossed. Let's go to Brighton and get the result. Big thanks to Andy, Ped, and myself. I mean, I'm thanking myself. I don't know why. Thanks for watching and listening. See you later.